Here we go. All right, there we go. Now we got somebody here. All right, folks. The previous guest panels we've had has been fantabulous, exciting, the whole 9 yards. Three of the people that are on this current panel are pretty good friends of mine and absolute kooks and nuts and have no respect for fandom whatsoever, so you will be abused from this table. They know who I'm talking about. So without any further ado, I'd like to bring up our next guest panel full of people from Quantum Leap. The lovely, gorgeous Claudia Christian. Hey, baby.
Hi.
Beverly Leach staring with you, too?
Not yet. She's gonna be a little late.
Beverly Leach is on her way. Another buddy of mine, Vaughn Armstrong. Is Kay there? The lovely, hey, buddy boy. The lovely Kay Callan. She's fantastic in that clip. Mr. James Harper. And the one and only Captain Galaxy, Richard Hurd.
Captain Galaxy and Future Boy.
All right. Like I said before we start, questions line up behind the speakers. Yes, we have a backlog of autograph lines downstairs. If you haven't been there, I'm sure it'll continue to be a backlog when you guys get down there. So they'll be filtering in as we speak. Hi, Claudia. How you doing,
How are
girl?
you,
Where you
sweetheart?
living now? You in London?
I'm back living in America.
You're back in the States. You're
Yeah.
an American. Vaughn, dude.
What's happening, man?
For those that don't know, our nighttime entertainment is being led by Vaughn with his cohort down the end there, Captain Galaxy. They do some incredible music, and I mean, it's really, really incredible music.
Thank you.
You'll be seeing
Enterprise
their
Blues.
performances.
We have the CD.
2 CDs.
Hi,
2
Dad.
Two CDs, 1 and 2.
And Mr. Harper, how are you, sir?
Fine, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Fantastic. The lovely Kay Callan, we just saw a clip of her on stage getting married.
And I was signing the last hour. I won't be here afterwards.
You won't
because
be
I
here
have to go.
afterwards?
But I've been signing for
You've been
the
signing
last.
forever.
Right.
Okay.
But it
so
was very nice. I enjoyed it.
If
Everybody
you don't
was
have her
terrific.
autograph yet, I suggest you get an address for her and send it, and I'm sure with,
Yeah, give it my email address. I'll write him back.
stick $100 in the envelope and she'll send back anything you want. All right, this is our next guest star panel. Daddy Hurd, how you been, buddy? Haven't seen you.
I'm all right there, son. How have you been? You've been taking your pablum?
Yeah.
Good. I'm
allowance
glad
is
to hear
late.
it. You're beginning to grow some whiskers. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Captain Galaxy blesses you all.
Okay, we'll start off the panel with basically, how are you guys? This is the 20th anniversary Quantum Leap Convention. It's been pretty fantastic so far. Yesterday was a very long day. Today is going to be even long and fun day. What have you guys been doing since Quantum Leap? And we'll work backwards from there.
I don't think
Well-
we've got long enough.
The short version, please. Claudia?
What have I been doing since Quantum Leap? Are you out of your mind? I was like 12 when I did that episode.
No.
Just say Babylon and be done with it.
I did a little series called Babylon 5
What's that?
about 35 films. I moved to London for 5 years. I just moved back to the States. I'm doing a series this summer for Showtime. I'm producing and directing a DVD for photographers right now, and a plethora of other very interesting things, which I'll be happy to tell you when I see. No. But seriously, no, it's good to be back, and nice to see all of you.
Right. Vaughn, buddy boy. What you been doing?
Since Quantum Leap,
Yeah.
That's my line.
I've raised 2 children, and they have moved out of the house.
Well, there goes
God,
20
except-
years right there, right?
Except one came back now, which is okay. He can stay as long as he wants, as far as I'm concerned. Mom doesn't like that idea. So, yeah, but, another little series called Enterprise, which was fun. Hey, there's people here who like Enterprise. Good. You're going to like our music then. Have you heard the Enterprise Blues Band? You have? Oh, hi. Yeah, excellent. Oh, yes. She's the only one that's heard our music. And,
If you
No,
haven't,
lots of
just
stuff.
wait. It's fantastic. But I do understand you were, for those that don't know, Vaughn has joined the Killed Off Club. You know,
what?
In Enterprise, you were killed off.
Oh, yeah.
You do remember that, sir?
Several
don't you?
times. I've been killed
I thought you said kill golf.
several
Killed,
times.
killed off?
Kill golf.
That's
yeah,
what I
like,
thought
let's
you said.
stop people from playing golf.
Yeah, I
My
thought they said
Baltimorean
kill golf.
accent, okay? Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you,
Trying to
Mr.
think what
Poe.
tournament is that?
Miss Callan, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
And I've been busy. I'm so glad I didn't have to follow Claudia because she's done everything in the world since then. I can't remember. I guess I did Lois and Clark afterwards. And I'm currently actually at work on a new series for Tyler Perry. We shot 10 of them back in October, and they ran on TBS. It's called Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns. And I'm leaving for Atlanta in 10 days to go and shoot 70 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't hear, what was that?
We're shooting 70 episodes. We shoot
my gosh.
3 or 4 a week.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
That's wonderful.
Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns, and I have a fabulous part. I play this kind of demented Norma Desmond.
Wonderful.
In a rest home, and they figured that I ran out of money in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, so I have all these fabulous period clothes and wigs and furs, and it's fabulous. It's so much fun. It's a wonderful series, so that's what I'm doing.
Great. Mucho luck with that. Okay.
Yeah. 70 episodes? Isn't that basically 3 years worth?
Well, you know, Tyler Perry, you know, he has this show called House of Pain,
House of Pain,
that he sold 100 episodes back to back, and they shot them back to back. And we're like the second in that series of, that's the new way of, the Tyler Perry way of doing business. He's, all of a sudden, I can't remember the filmmaker, you know, who did all the 50s horror movies that Beverly
Gene Autry used to do that.
No, that Beverly Garland was in. You know, all the
Roger Corman?
He's
Yeah.
like the Roger Corman of television. You know, I mean, he just shoots them out, and he does a movie every 4 months, whether he wants to or not.
Wow.
I mean, he's just amazing.
Well, yeah, I guess you're recession-proof right now, huh?
For the moment, I'm very happy. Listen, I feel very fortunate whenever I get to work. You know how the business is.
Mr. Harper, have you always played heavies?
Only since I gained 50 pounds since I did Vinny the Viper. No, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been eating since Quantum Leap. Eating and getting older. Actually, no, I'm doing something right now, currently, actually. After 12 years on the shelf, they are remaking a sequel, bring a sequel to the video game StarCraft. And StarCraft 2, and I play Arcturus Minsk, which I did 10 years ago, and that's very cool and exciting. And I just did that up the street 2 days ago. Also was the villain. I did a lot of things, too many things to mention, but most recently a villain in a new soap called GH Night Shift, which was a spin-off of General Hospital.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
was
yes,
made
yes.
specifically for the soap channel.
Right.
Woohoo. And I played another heavy. I played the evil lawyer for the medical conglomerate MedCam, out to destroy General Hospital.
Ooh.
And I didn't get killed off. Maybe I'll come back. I don't know. And let's see, I did something else recently. Oh, yes, I did another play here in Los Angeles, the West Coast premiere of a play called The Accomplices by New York Times correspondent, Pulitzer Prize winner Bernard Weinraub, whose wife is Amy Pascal, if you happen to know who that is, who was the head of Sony, that little studio over on the other side of town. At the Fountain Theater here in town, and I won an award for that. I played FDR. So, that's it.
Wow. Hey, Dad, you back on Earth yet?
Yeah, we did a play with a wonderful actor, Kevin Conway, James and I. Well, it's now called The Geffen. We did Other People's Money together over there. It was a pleasure to work with him, as it always is. And
Bless you. Thank
no,
you.
that's just what's the truth. What can I tell you?
It was a
And I've gone on. I guess I was just remembered to write one down. This independent film thing. What I have now, I have a total of 57 movies I've done. Done 57 films. I started counting them up the other day, and I remembered one today. I forgot about the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yeah.
Yeah, the remake, I did that. But to me, since then, like a miracle happened, and God bless my collaborator, Richard Stockton. We wrote a play 40 years ago. 40 years ago. And we were fortunate enough to have it done at the Abbey Theater, and we had it done in the Midwest at the Milwaukee Rep, and then we had it done in Atlanta. Alfred Drake directed it, and it was never done. It was almost done in New York and out here. It never happened. So just put all our scripts away and blah, 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 blah. And my wife and I were on away to a trip just about a year ago, and I got a call from the attorney who had drawn up the contract with Richard and myself all those years ago. And lo and behold, it ended up having a 12-week run off-Broadway, full professional company at the Irish Rep Company in New York City with a splendid cast 40 years later. So there's hope, folks. There's hope out there.
That's great.
Then I came back and I worked with a wonderful actor, which is kind of a tribute to him, David Huffman, and I know his sons and so forth. Phyllis is gone now. But his son, Matt, was wanted to do a play that, matter of fact, Vaughn worked on with the reading when we did it. Bury the Dead, Irwin Shaw. Yes. And we did a little workshop, and we ended up co-directing it. It was at Tim Robbins' place over there, the Actors Gang. So I've been doing that in films.
Your one-man show.
No, I don't do my DeMille anymore. It's too much work. Anyway, I'm here. Things are still happening. I'm painting, playing with Vaughn, having a wonderful time. The world is good. My daughter got married, and my son will be 50 in October. What can I tell you?
Wow. Okay, for those of you that don't remember, Richard's face has been all over television back in the 80s and so on, and one of his memorable roles is that lizard-eating freak in V. Okay.
John, your supreme commander.
He's the supreme commander in V. So he's been around. He had his career. Guys, Quantum Leap related. We did this in the other panels, and we're just curious as how the audition process, how you guys were even considered, and even when you came up in doing the auditions for your role. Damn hat. How, in fact, did you gain your role in Quantum Leap? Why were you considered? And how does it feel to be working with both Scott? I know it's a multi-part question. Both Scott and Dean.
I slept with Dean.
So did I.
I slept with Scott.
All right, now you guys do understand it when Scott.
I slept with Don Belisario.
If you expect me to remember an audition 20-odd years ago, you are
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
no, I don't
I
remember.
slept with them all.
The only thing I remember about Quantum Leap is that Jean-Pierre Dorliac, the costume director, had to sew me into my dress every morning, and I had to stand and lean against a slant board because I couldn't sit down the entire shoot. That's how tight the clothes were. They wanted me to be Jessica Rabbit meets Ingrid Bergman. You figure that out. And they tucked my hair under and made it red, and they tucked it so it looked really short. I thought the whole thing was rather bizarre, but I couldn't move. And the clothes were extraordinary, but I was sewn into them, which was it was fabulous. But that's all I can remember, and that's all you're getting. Love you.
I want pictures of the
Love
sleeping
you.
part.
I know that's why that guy came to work in the morning, was to sew her into that thing.
Vaughn?
Well, I got it because I looked like Donald Trump's father, to tell you the truth, and that's who I played, was Donald Trump's father. But
Yeah.
I got to tell you, you asked about working with Scott. My first day on the Enterprise set, now I had one scene in Quantum Leap, but I'm in the costume department, the wardrobe department, and Scott comes in to get something fixed, and I had met him, 12, 14 years earlier in that one scene in a taxi. And I said, hi, yeah, we met a long time. He said, I remember you, Donald Trump's father.
Wow.
That was from 12 or 14 years earlier. And he remained one of the nicest, most concerned people I ever knew anywhere on that set, all the way through those brief 4 years of Enterprise.
Yeah. It's amazing that you say that. That's what we've been hearing for the last 2 days. Those
the nicest guy in the
generous,
world.
good gracious, you know. That's fantastic.
It's absolutely true.
Miss
Great
Fallon?
guy.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I was just thinking, Do I remember any part of it? Was that show that I had to go back 3 times for the call back? I have no idea.
You married the guy.
Yeah. I have no idea. You know,
Yeah.
I was just lucky, you know, somebody asked for me or somebody suggested me, you know, just like most actors. You know, your agent says, what about Kay Callan? And they either say yes or no, and you get to go in and hope for the best.
Have you seen Scott and or Dean after your appearance on?
I haven't seen Scott. Well, I saw him in a play at the Geffen, but I didn't really see him afterwards. And Dean, I haven't really seen. I've seen Terry. I did Desperate Housewives, although I didn't get to see Terry because she wasn't there that day. But I've seen, you know, Terry a couple of times, and Ellie Cantor, who cast the show, and I became friends, and Deborah Joy Levine, who wrote that show. But I haven't really, you know, crossed paths. You know, geography.
All right. We had Michael Gregory here during the last panel, and he did mention how much he, you know, enjoyed working with Terry as well.
Well, why are you laughing? I really enjoyed working
It's
with
become
Terry.
an R-rated convention. Either, you know, we're talking about breasts or
Oh, I see.
lesbians,
I see.
handcuffs. This is just from the actors
what?
panel. We're innocent out here in the audience, but you
I
guys are throwing this
see,
stuff out
I
at
see.
us. We're churchgoers here, please.
I see.
More. Mr. Harper?
Hello. Have we met? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I have no idea. I'm like, okay, I have no idea. I remember that the casting group, the people who were casting the show, cast about 3 different shows at that same time, and I got something in every single one of them within about a year. So maybe they were calling me back. I don't know what specifically got me. It was a great fun episode, I'll tell you that much. Seabride was just great, shot on the Queen Mary. I have not seen Dean since then, but Scott I see constantly. We have mutual social friends, so I see him at least once a year at a particular seasonal holiday party. Wow. That's a daytime affair with families and stuff, and that's always wonderful. I've seen him numerous times in performances that he has done, live theater around town. And what you just saw him at the Geffen was the name of is what?
I have no idea.
Written by and
Written
direct-
by that wonderful
What?
Jane?
Quality of Life. Thank you.
Was it written by Jane?
Why don't you ask them?
And direct- yeah. I know.
We have a
Quality of Life.
Got a whole encyclopedia out here in
Right.
the audience.
As a matter of fact, I may have met some of the fans here after a performance that
did
he
too.
did at Reprise over at
Raise your
UCLA.
hand if you've met him.
We met afterwards, right? Yeah.
I met somebody at the Quality of Life that came up and called me by the name from Quantum Leap. It was so cool. It was really nice.
So Scott is, you all know that. He's one of the most generous, nicest people in the world, and remembers me from the very first time that I saw him accidentally. Knew exactly who I was and what I'd done, and we threw our lines back and forth still to each other from this episode. But the other great person that I had some contact with after a number of years, he cast me in an episode of NYPD Blue that he was directing. The former DP for Quantum Leap, Michael Watkins, who is absolutely brilliant, and
Yes,
I
I've
didn't know
worked with
became,
Michael,
he was executive producer of X-Files for a number of years.
Wow.
And then I ran into him, this was a number of years ago, about 5-6 years ago, and he directed me an episode of NYPD Blue called Peeping Tommy, and I was Peeping Tommy. And they're quite fun. So it's been a good connection. Also, I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but we were asked for any stories that we might have
Sure.
from the
That's what
episode
you're
and
doing
stuff,
now,
and I
yeah.
couldn't think of anything
Always
at the
when you're in
time.
front of a crowd,
And now
you
I
come
think
up.
of one.
But
I
now
don't think
you
I could have
remember.
written.
It's the
Well, it's
electricity.
an embarrassing story.
Good.
It's an embarrassing.
Well, then don't tell it.
I may have told it at the last convention, so if you've heard it before, I apologize. But we shot most of that episode, Seabride, on the Queen Mary down in Long Beach. And it was quite fun, but we were also shooting down there. Most of it was night shoots. And they have a vast parking lot for the Queen Mary and stuff down there. And it has those lights in the parking lot that are those yellow kind of fog lights, because they got so much fog down there, and they want you to be able to see your cars. I had a very, very, very red car. And when you have a red car under fog lights like that, it changes the color of the car.
Green.
No, it changed it to like a gray. just appears, it has no color. And we finished shooting, and I was almost the last person out. So you imagine a parking lot that holds 3,000 cars, and yet at this 5 a.m. in the morning, there are actually only 3 of them in the lot. And I come out. Where's my car? Someone stole my car. Shit. I've been working on this damn show all day long, and I come down here and I park down here, and somebody has stolen my damn car. Nothing here. And there are only 3 cars, mind you, in the lot, and mine is not there. And I go running back inside on the ship, screaming up one side and down the other, my car, my car, my car, my car, my car is gone. Getting people to look for it and everything. We're out there about a half an hour, 45 minutes. And somebody says, are you sure? You know, this one, you say it's this kind of a car, and there's one sitting right here. But, you know, and I walk over to it and I went, well? Never mind.
It's begun.
Dad, your episode was probably, I mean, I love all of your episodes, but was probably one of my favorites, most memorable, the silver outfit.
You have good taste, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your dealings with Scott in that episode?
Here, I got to tell you, it's warm, wonderful, good theater background, people struggling out there with shows and so forth. He, in a financial way, made a lot of things happen for a lot of actors at a lot of the Equity Waiver theaters. He's a great guy. And this came about, I was busy doing something, and I got this last-minute call to come over to see Belisario and those folks. I knew Don in New York 1,000 years before that. And I went in. I just liked the part, and it seemed to work. I got it right at the audition. And they took me and they put me, measured me for all this and all that, and I went to work the next day on the show. They had been looking for somebody. But more than that, Tommy Thompson wrote it, a wonderful, wonderful guy. And Tommy Thompson wrote that, and Tommy Thompson wrote the pilot for Sequest. And he recommended me to Spielberg and to, I can't remember. Oh, Kushner, directed one of the Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah, Irving, whatever. Anyway, I went in I had a little meeting, and I got it. And I have to tell you, what a wonderful opportunity, just like Scott, you know, I did about 17 or 18 of those shows with Roy Scheider. And working with Roy Scheider, I have to tell you, fabulous. Kept in touch with him. And I still keep in touch. We keep in touch with Lou Lazara. Lou Lazara, a wonderful makeup man who was on Sequest. And he was Roy's personal makeup guy, and he worked on every one of Roy's pictures. So we kept in touch with him. He was a very good man. And a lot of wonderful things came out of that whole thing for me. It just kind of kept going after that through. But it was a big change for me because I was doing hard asses. China Syndrome and General Richard Leslie Groves and Tough Cops and Onion Field. And it was a break for me to play a human being, a person, rather than some authoritative figure. And then Don called me and he asked me about some dates. He said, I want to write you into the last episode. So he wrote me into the last episode as the Slavic actor Ziggy. And, it's just amazing the way things happen. But I have to tell you, on that show, it was probably, you can tell immediately when you walk onto a stage, a sound stage, what's happening. You just feel it. And if it's loose, but expectation and not screaming and yelling at everything, the creative process is much easier. As soon as you walk onto a stage where there's angst or something, it tightens up all these beautiful little flowers that want to bud out, open, and so forth. And so nobody really delivers the kind of performance. But the thing on Quantum Leap was there was a feeling that The whole feeling was to make it such a situation and such a feeling and such an aura that you could work as a performer and you could take risks. You could actually take risks. Most television, you don't take risks. You do it. They don't have time for risks. But this was the kind of show where they would allow that. And they used a lot of very, very fine actors, just like you have here at the table. And I feel so proud to have been a part of everyone who was involved with this show. And many of them are not here today. Many of the fine writers who have gone into the industry. It was just, this is my favorite thing I've ever done on television, Captain Galaxy. My favorite. And I have to tell you, with Deborah, Deborah played my daughter. She was so wonderful, so wonderful. The people but Scott especially, it was such a pleasure. We had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Remember, if you have questions, hit those microphones
I want to say one other thing about,
Yes, sir.
you're talking about the theater background of actors. I don't know whether they went after this for a great length of time with every episode, but I have a feeling they probably did. I'm just thinking here about everybody that was that played major roles in the episode that I did, Seabride. All had heavy duty theater backgrounds. Besides myself, John Hertzler, who played Bev's father, Beverly herself, Leach, Kurt Knudsen, who I worked with at the Long Wharf Theater in Connecticut many years before that. He played the ship's captain for that. And Tony Maggio, who played my right-hand guy, has a huge theater background and very heavily involved with one of the theater companies here in town. So it's kudos to them.
Well, we had Morgan Shepherd, who had been with the Royal Shakespeare Company. We had Stephen McCaddy, who had worked and Dan Butler, who went on to do, Frasier.
Yeah.
And they all had, immense theater backgrounds.
Well, it's interesting that you guys mentioned that, because in our previous panels we had basically the actors and even the producers, behind the scene guys that we've had, who noticed almost immediately how welcomed people were once they came on the Quantum Leap set. How Scott was always doing things that outside of his quote unquote title as an actor. He helped the grips and everything else. In comparison, since a lot of you guys are still in the current, with Babylon and with Star Trek, do you see a difference in, I won't say production values, but in terms of homeliness, hospitality amongst the actors themselves, each other? Do you see a vast difference between then as opposed to now?
I would not say then as opposed to now, but I got to tell you, you were talking about how welcomed everybody felt. I think that came from Scott.
Yeah.
Because I saw him once on the Enterprise set see an extra that had been there the day before, and he went over and he asked the director, he said, "Can you tell me his name, because I forgot, and I got to tell him how nice a job he did yesterday." So he went over and he said, he says his name Dave, and he walked over and he said, "Dave, I just want to welcome you back because you were so good yesterday on that spot where you fell," or whatever he did, and he just wanted to make everybody feel welcome, which makes everybody want to do better work.
Yeah, it starts at the top. The director can set the tone, and also the star sets the tone of a series. And if you've got people without, the drama queens and the ego and everything, it just makes for an absolutely gorgeous experience at work. I mean, I've had Scott, who was amazing. I've worked with actors like Morgan Freeman, who put you at ease. And everybody on Babylon 5 was just phenomenal. It was the most fun I've ever had on a set. It's just because you went to work and it was like a play date. And everybody from the top to the stars everybody got along, and it was just one big happy family. That's not an everyday experience. I've worked with a lot of prima donnas, and it's Faye Dunaway. I mean, sorry. No, I didn't say that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Ms. Callan,
No,
I
it's-
understand your recent stint is on ER. In terms of the question that I asked, have you seen a difference between the time before, not just Quantum Leap, but time before and currently ER?
Not really. I think it varies from show to show, and it all does come down from the top, either the star or the director or the producer or someone. And most sets I've ever been on are happy sets. It just takes one that's not to make you like really nervous. But I don't think that over time that aspect of things have changed. You know, there's good guys and bad guys. There's crazy guys and, you know, balanced people. You know.
Speaking of bad guys.
Well, you know, on Seinfeld, I have to tell you, on Seinfeld, all of those people, Larry David, Jerry, everybody, and the young writers, 22, 23, 24, it was, all they expected was perfection. And they were wonderful. There were no stars. There were no attitudes. Everybody was kind and friendly. The wonderful thing at the end of each week, we had a live audience. We did the show once and a couple of pickups. But there again, you see, everybody pulled together. We did a 3-camera thing. They rehearsed it, and the 4th day we shot it. But everybody was pulling, you know, together in a nice way. There was nobody screaming. There was no nudges. And I've worked a lot of shows in 55 years. I've worked a lot of shows, and I've worked a lot of shows with stars, supposedly, that can ruin a situation, that look at you like you have a glass head. But they, you know, you just keep.
Richard.
I do sometimes too. I've
Bring
worked
that out in
with
people,
people
Richard.
that have worn better hairpieces than me. I worked for shows where I had to provide my own hairpiece. I worked for shows where they bought me a hairpiece. Now
then
I
you
don't
got
wear
the
a hair.
hat.
But anyway, that's my story.
You know, one of the talking about this, I think it does vary from show to show, obviously, but I think one of the things I first learned when I was first out here and had done a few shows, had a few shows on my belt, and this was just around the time I did Quantum Leap, I noticed that it really seemed to emanate from whoever the star of the show was, the people up at the top. And I think more so even than the executive producer or the head writer or the director or anything else, simply because the stars, the series regulars, the people in that position, they're the ones that are catered to and everything has to be happy for. And those are the people that are there for 23 episodes every season and stuff. So it really, it's set up to kind of come down from them. And where people are like Scott, and there are a number of people around town that are generous like Scott, the shows are wonderful to work on. Frasier's was a great show to work on, a great ensemble show, and Scott.
Girls.
And Paradise, Lee Horsley. Lee Horsley was absolutely one
Wonderful
of the
man.
most greatest gentlemen in this business, and it started there and from him. I worked on another show that had a couple. And it was a very short-lived series. Didn't last very long. And the angst on this show was like this. It was the most unhappy place I ever worked in my life. And that was because of what was going on between those two. So it's just it does vary from show to show. But it is interesting that, you know, certainly this show was going to have a great camaraderie and cast to work with because of Scott.
We'll get on to our next question here, but it's really interesting how everybody that comes up here is saying how great Scott is and wonderful. And you guys ever see the Manchurian Candidate?
Oh, yes. The
Yeah.
original?
Oh, yeah. You
know
begin
what I'm
to feel
talking
like
about?
that.
Original,
Yeah,
yes.
he was
yeah.
the kindest, most wonderful person.
And then what does he do? He goes on and tries to assassinate somebody. Yeah, okay. Don't believe the hype. You know, I'm sure it's true. Ma'am, you have a question over there?
Yes, I'd like to ask each of our guests, please, what they're doing now, so you have your chance to promote yourself, maybe starting with Mr. Christian and working down to Mr. Hurd, because I know he can talk a lot and he has so many stories.
Well, let's see. I have 7 paintings in a show that's going to open when? July 17th. You can look on my web where it's going to be. My painting has taken an unexpected leap. I was just doing it for myself, and now people want to buy my paintings. I have a few downstairs. You can come down by if you like. They're very inexpensive.
Would you say that they've taken a quantum leap?
They have taken a quantum leap. And it's wonderful at my age. I find out when I go out to do Desperate Housewives or when I do Cold Case or that Nicole film, and I did the Anna Nicole film, you know, and all this stuff, so forth in the last 8-10 months. People, you know, I don't take as much shit as I used to. You know, and I never really did. But I just walk away.
I've worked with
because
them
the
in my
worst thing they,
garage for
you know,
5
fire
years.
me, please, fire me. And they're usually nice. I let them, you know, quarrel amongst themselves, and I just go sit down somewhere. I go back to the trailer or the honey wagon. whatever it is. And they're nice to me. You know, I don't mind telling you, I'm 76 years old. And they're just pleasant to me now. And if they're not, a lot of times I won't even, you know, I don't have as much urge to go in anymore unless it's something. I figure if you really, my own way is if you have a burning desire, or you really, or even to do an equity waiver play, you know, you're not going to make any money, or a television or a film, or especially the independent films where you're not going to make much. So a lot of the things I don't do, certainly not for the paycheck I'm getting. I do it because I want to do it. And I have to tell you, like with Vaughn, my favorite part of the whole thing is rehearsing. I love to rehearse. You know, Vaughn got this band started, the Enterprise Blues Band, and he brought together some wonderful people. And I can't tell you, it's such a wonderful feeling to be with these 5, 6 other guys, to do the kind of music we're doing, and the fun of it. And that's what life is truly about. You know, to go out and play and enjoy. And Vaughn has written a lot of the numbers, and on the second CD, blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of fun I'm having now. I call it retirement acting.
I just retired. I got to ask, is that Janny from Utah? Oh, hey, how you doing? You came all the way from Utah for this? Oh, you're so sweet.
We have about,
out there? My
Vaughn,
God, your
we have
eyes are
about, 13 countries here in 32 states. People from Japan, Malaysia, a bunch of Australians all over the freaking place. And then there's the Texans.
Yes, Australians, Aussies.
Anybody from Boston? No.
Connecticut?
People from
Probably not in the
Amherst.
room currently.
Anybody from L.A.?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, about 6 people.
There's a bunch of people. North Hollywood. There are people
Well-
from North Hollywood and Granada Hills.
I said actually what I was doing right now, StarCraft 2. So please do look for that. I imagine it'll come out sometime later this year. They're in the voice process of it now, and I was also able to see some of the animation for the game and see where there's not completed it all yet, and I'm sure it's going to take another number of months. But watch for that because it's going to be killer. Actually, the most recent thing I did besides this that actually paid me absolutely no money, but one of the most enjoyable things I've ever done in the business, and watch for the people connected with this because they're going to do really, really swell. I did a grad film for USC, which myself and my significant other in real life, Marilyn McIntyre, and some of you may know her from stuff that she's done, played a couple, and another wonderful actor who we happen to know just by chance got cast in the film also, Kelly Connell, who was on Picket Fences for a while. We played a couple who have, it's a little 10-minute, 12-minute film called Into the Unknown. And we're a couple that I'm taking a shower, and all of a sudden a huge sound happens, and a black hole appears in our shower. And it's all about why the black hole had gotten there and stuff, and Kelly plays a plumber and stuff, and we shot it up at Lake Arrowhead and down here, and it's really one of the most enjoyable times I've ever had. And when we saw the film in December, they had a screening of it, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Our performances aside, it is brilliant. And please watch for John Tamaki Dion is his name. He is the one that directed the film. And if you saw the LA Times yesterday, actually there was a huge article in the calendar section about the new George Lucas building at USC. It's film, and the student pictured at the sound editing console is John Tamaki Dion. But it's a wonderful film, and I'm hoping it'll get up on a website sometime soon so you can see it, because it's really, really, really terrific and funny and warm and wonderful. Anyway, that's it.
Excellent. Ms. Callan?
Well, I already said I'm doing Meet the Browns, but actually I'm on an episode of Castle in a couple of weeks. It's a tiny little part, but it's fun to work on there. And I'd worked with Nathan Fillion before in a short-lived pilot called, I don't know, called Drive. And so anyway, there's that. And then the Meet the Browns, which I'm sure will be on this summer because we're going to be on in tandem with House of Pain.
Excellent. Castle. And Nathan Fillion is one of the leads in that from Firefly?
Yes,
Nathan Fillion?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. Vaughn, I think we... move on to you?
Well, you know, what have I been doing? I did a Mad Men this year, which was kind of fun.
show.
Yeah, that was a nice show. I like that. And I was the head of American Airlines.
You make a good pilot.
You know what? That's perfect casting, Vaughn. That's perfect casting. I can see you back in the 50s as the.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I
but
had
you did that
even
play,
shorter
Vaughn,
hair.
I came out to see.
I did a play written by the man who wrote China Syndrome.
That's right,
as a
Tommy
matter of fact.
Cook.
It was called Ravens Ridge at the Fremont Center Theater
in South Pasadena.
Yes, written by Tom Cook, who's constantly writing things that he wants to put me in, so I don't know, something else will come around. So for that reason, I let him come play with a band in my garage. You know, so that maybe he'll keep us in mind. But also did a Criminal Minds, and I got a couple of commercials running and this and that, and really, the most fun has been some cruise trek events that I've been on. I went on a cruise with my son down the Danube from Nuremberg to Budapest, which was a hoot. In May, Ron B. Moore, you guys know Ron B. Moore? Also in the band, 5-time Emmy-winning
Award winner.
visual effects
Visual
director.
effects.
He's going with me and my other son in May to
Bermuda.
That's right, yeah, Bermuda. So, somebody else going? Yeah, there's a couple of people going. Excellent. Oh, wonderful.
I always
Yeah.
get invited to Flint, Michigan and stuff.
Hey, watch it now. There's nothing wrong with Flint, Michigan.
Easy there now,
Wait a
big
minute,
boy. I'm
anybody
just
here
saying,
from Michigan?
okay,
Anybody here from
Anybody from Flint?
honey.
Okay, see, you got.
Okay, excuse me. The Danube, Bermuda, Flint, Michigan.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
they all have
I'm
their.
just kind of, you
Yeah,
know.
you're right. Michigan sucks. Yeah, okay. All right.
They all got their
Say it.
ups and
It's a
downs.
beautiful
say
state.
Somebody conned me out of $100 in Budapest, though. And so.
All right, we got 2 more questions. We're gonna be after. What? When? Oh, they still want to know what you're up to. Oh, you knew that. Oh.
About 5'9", son. No, I'm doing this series for Showtime in July. I'm starting shooting. It's called Look. This year I did a romantic comedy called Overnight, directed by Valerie Brayman, who I did Love and Sex for. And the movie, hello.
Darn it.
You guys are so predictable. And that should be coming out this year, hopefully. I play an alcoholic stewardess.
Perfect.
I
That's a
steal people's drinks. Yeah, it's good for a sober person. Anyway, that was fun, and the series should be fun. And I'm directing this DVD for amateur and professional photographers, for a photographer named David Honnell, and we're doing a DVD on how to light photography shots. Cool. So yeah, that's really kind of fun. We just started yesterday, so that shoot's going very well. We're going to do Steve Stevens. I bet you know who that is. One of the greatest guitarist of all time. Yeah, we're filming him next week. So, yeah, and Pat Tallman from Babylon 5 is going to be there. So we're going to have we're going to teach how to shoot women and of a certain age. It's she and I. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm up to. Back, you know, what am I going to say?
Question?
Hello there, I'm Dan from Minnesota, and I got a special question for Richard Hurd.
Oh, yes, Dan, what is it?
It's on this side.
On this side,
Look towards me.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes, Dan, what is your question?
Captain Galaxy.
Oh, he's way over there.
I complimented because he's my favorite miner in Mirror Image, Ziggy, but I have a question. I read somewhere, I think it's the Complete Quantum Leap book, that the original ending for Future Boy was to have Mo Stein die and see, instead of seeing your co-star Future Boy, you saw Sam as Sam, and therefore realizing that time travel is possible. Now, when you got involved with that episode, and did you know of that original ending, or did it change it on you, or was it?
No, but I will share something with you, which was very interesting. They were going to make a series with Deborah and myself of Mo Stein. Wow. There was talk of doing a series with the character I had done. They were going to go back to Milwaukee, Deborah Strickland. And, but as far as the ending, there was, those heated discussions about doing it, which would have been a lot of fun, of course, because he still had that childlike mind and blah, blah. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But I'm glad they didn't, and I came very close to solving the quantum leap theory. I'll see you in the future.
Sir, on the other side, was that your final question?
One quick question.
Okay.
Do you think Captain Galaxy has a theory on how to bring Dr. Beckett home?
Would you repeat that?
Does Captain Galaxy have a theory on how to bring Dr. Beckett home?
Well, you remember on the, do you remember the little thing about the little Sammy Beckett?
Yep.
Little Sammy Beckett thing. And do you remember when I was explaining about the string? Well, yes. I mean, you know, the man, you got to face it, the man was close to, you know, mathematically and, you know, physically and physics, chemistry. It was a genius. Most time was one of those guys that was, you know, the whole theory about blah, blah, blah. And he could see things were very, very clear to him. Because when you're close to madness and genius, the clutter is not there. Either the voices work or they don't. So he was very close to solving that theory. As you remember in the scene with Dean downstairs and Scott and myself when I was making my time machine.
You got close to leaping.
Yeah. I wish I had one of those now, as a matter of fact.
Okay, over on the other side of the room.
The young lady there was in line before I was.
Good. All right, honorable man. Okay, the last question, and I'm just getting the cut signal. So let's go with the last question here. Go ahead, ma'am. I know.
You can come on downstairs and see us. We're signing, and we also will talk to you.
Ma'am, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Kimberly from New York. My question is to Vaughn.
Pay attention.
Sorry.
Over here.
Over there.
You've played, I'm a Trekkie too, you've played so many Star Trek aliens, different kinds, like Vidian and Herosian and Klingon. Like, do you have a favorite? And also the makeup that you must have gone through for all of them, how was that?
Well,
Nobody likes prosthetics.
probably the reason that I got so many was that I don't mind it that much. I mean, the longest makeup I ever did was 6.5 hours in the chair.
Oh, God.
Yeah, for the Cretacean. And my favorite was, of course, Admiral Forrest. He was a whole 5 minutes in the chair, and I'm out of there. But I don't know, you know, they were all a lot of fun to do because they're all, you know, the personalities of these creatures are way over the top, and you got to make them real. Or I'm not sure real's the right. You got to make them believable, you know. So they're a lot of fun to do. The favorite? There's some really good ones. That 2 of 9 was a hoot because he's a robot, you know, coming back into humanity. And Telecromor is a bad guy with a good heart. You know, there's just a bunch of them that are really kind of fun. So the favorite's hard to do. The worst one was probably that Cretacean. Because after that 6.5 hours in the makeup chair, they knocked on my door and they said, "Sorry, Vaughn, we're not going to get to you today." Which, yeah.
And then it takes another 2 hours to take
to
off.
take it off.
Yeah, but
At
what
2.5.
time did you get in, Vaughn? 3 in the morning?
Yeah, 3 in the morning to start putting it on. I got an hour's worth of overtime without ever stepping in front of the camera, which was pretty good.
Mr. Harper, I think you wanted to
yeah,
follow.
I
We're gonna have
did.
to close, but go ahead.
I did a single episode of Deep Space Nine.
Me too.
I was the first Kobliad. I don't know if you remember what a Kobliad was, Raul Vantica. And I was a guest star. I was hired for the whole week, yada, 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 yada. But my character took over the body of Dr. Bashir. So it turned for when I was hired for the job, they said, well, actually, you're just going to do mainly a voiceover for Dr. Bashir. I said, well, okay, that's cool, too. I'll have the one scene, and then I'll do a voiceover. Well, I guess the actor playing Dr. Bashir didn't like that idea too much. Somebody else was going to. Anyway, they ended up using his voice, which of course there was not too much mystery there. He sounded just like he sounded. So, you know. Anyway, so they kind of I blew my whole wad there in one scene, and you know, the only thing is I grab his throat and I say, "Make me live," and then I die. But. One thing about Star Trek I discovered, a brilliant person who was doing my makeup, Karen. I don't know if you remember Karen.
Yeah, sure.
Karen. When they don't get to you and you're the first of this kind of alien, they can keep experimenting and keep you in the chair. So that when the AD comes in and he says, you know, we're not going to get to him for a couple hours, and Karen goes, "Oh, good. Let me do some more things." And after, literally, not kidding, 8.5 hours in the makeup chair, and the AD comes in, and Karen turns the other way, and I'm going, call me to the set. I don't care. Even if you don't need me, call me to the set. And And he came back about a half an hour later and said, Mr. Harper, we're ready for you now. Okay, thank you. But literally, could have gone on forever.
They
All
had
right.
fun too, those makeup.
And on that note, for those that didn't realize, Vaughn played the most alien characters in Star Trek history.
12 characters.
And on that, we'd like to thank our guest here at the 20th Anniversary Leapback Convention, Claudia Christian, Vaughn Armstrong, Kay Callan, Mr. Harper, and Dad himself, Richard Hurd.
Thank you.